Welcome to Key Tech. Please subscribe this channel if you're interested in today's video. Nvidia's CEO Jensen Huang could never have predicted that the H20 chip, with its significantly reduced performance, would experience so many twists and turns: hype, restrictions, shipments allowed, commissions taken, abandonment, and production halts. But don't think that's the end of it. Mainland experts have proposed a 15% security deposit, and the U.S. Congress has recently introduced a new bill. Even if Trump agrees, shipments won't work. It still needs to pass Congress. As a result, the situation has become a complete mess. Recently, mainland experts stated that although Nvidia has twice publicly stated that its chips have no backdoors, this cannot allay China's concerns about the security of AI chips. After all, the US has had numerous previous incidents with chip security. Therefore, if Nvidia wants to continue shipping H20 chips to mainland China, it should sign a legally binding agreement with mainland China and deposit 15% of its revenue from AI chip sales to a designated location as a security deposit. After a period of time, once it is confirmed that the relevant products have no backdoors, the deposit will be fully refunded. Otherwise, the corresponding deposit will be deducted. This idea actually originated in the United States, where Nvidia and AMD are required to pay 15% of their AI chip sales revenue to China in exchange for export licenses. The difference is that the US charge is equivalent to a franchise tax, while China's is a security deposit. However, reactions to the experts' remarks were mixed. Some thought the proposal was sound, emphasizing that there should be legal and practical constraints, not just a few words from the manufacturers. If anything goes wrong in the future, China will handle it. But many others wondered why wait for problems to arise. Why not just reject them outright? Wouldn't it be better to directly replace them with domestically produced products? Before this discussion reached a conclusion, news quickly emerged that Congress had suddenly taken action again. According to media reports, the U.S. House of Representatives recently introduced a new bill requiring U.S. companies to pass Congress before selling AI chips to mainland China. Notably, this new bill specifically defines advanced AI chips and sets export review criteria, citing the usual justification of national security. However, the bill has not yet been formally passed. This has also sparked curiosity among many. What is the US up to? Trump approved the export, but the US Congress is now blocking it. In fact, there's more to this story than meets the eye. The underlying conflict lies in a tit-for-tat between the two parties in the U.S. Trump, a Republican, approved the export of Nvidia's H20 chips to China, but the Democrats in the U.S. Congress jumped in to oppose it. Whatever Trump's motives, the hawks in Congress believe this is wrong and that he's giving the mainland Chinese market a break. A closer look reveals the Democratic Party's intentions. With the U.S. midterm elections approaching, Democrats are naturally looking for topics that will appeal to voters, and it seems that a tough stance on China has always been a popular option. The depth of the conflict between the two parties in the U.S. goes without saying. Crucially, this aspect is also reflected in industrial policy. For example, during his presidency, Biden enacted the CHIPS and Science Act, which provided cheap subsidies to promote the return of manufacturing, a move Biden considered a major achievement. However, Trump has scoffed at this and has repeatedly publicly stated his intention to repeal the bill, arguing that providing large subsidies to wafer fabs is foolish and wasteful, and that tariffs should be used to force companies to invest in the U.S., which is more effective than spending money on subsidies. Now, Democratic lawmakers have introduced new bills to challenge Trump, essentially continuing Biden's approach to technological containment. In response, some foreign media outlets have directly commented that the AI chip shipment issue has become a major escalation, even escalating into a fierce competition between the two parties in the U.S. The consequences are severe, as it makes U.S. tech policy uncertain and constantly shifting. The natural victims are the chip giants, who are bearing the brunt of the losses. In fact, Intel, Qualcomm, and others had previously approached the U.S. government, urging them to refrain from further restricting chip exports to China, but the bipartisan competition simply ignored them. The worst hit is Nvidia. After finally getting Trump's approval for exports, the U.S. Congress is now stepping in to obstruct them. What's even more troubling for Nvidia isn't that the U.S. is still debating whether to export H20 chips to China, but that mainland Chinese companies are no longer buying them, and no one dares to do so, due to concerns about safety concerns and the 15% cut the U.S. government takes. For this reason, Nvidia has notified relevant manufacturers to suspend H20 production to avoid further inventory buildup. Meanwhile, Nvidia plans to release the more powerful B30A chip, but if the new law is enacted, will the U.S. still allow exports? It's unclear whether Nvidia will be able to obtain a new shipping license. Even if it does, will mainland China, with its push for domestic substitution, still accept it?